Is 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 this on? Hello, this on? Yeah. How come it's not playing here? Well, hey there. Welcome. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Is Donald Trump going to pick the next Texas senator, or are you going to pick the next Texas senator? Is it kind of unsettling that we have a binary choice that we're looking at here? And it looks like the people of Texas aren't going to be the ones who make that final choice. Because the endorsement of Donald Trump is hanging over the Texas Senate GOP runoff right now. Two candidates, John Cornyn, Ken Paxton. They emerge from the jungle primary on Tuesday. And it wasn't that long ago. I'm talking 2 days ago. Ken Paxton goes on Real America's Voice and says, I'm not dropping out. There is no situation in which I would drop out.
What message do you want to send to the Republican base? President Trump said he's going to make an endorsement. Whoever he does endorse should drop out. I have a funny feeling you don't drop out under any circumstance.
No, I'm staying in this race. I owe it to the people of Texas. I've spent a year of my life campaigning against John Cornyn because John has not represented the people of Texas well. He's sided with Joe Biden on Second Amendment restrictions. He's sided with Joe Biden on bringing Afghan refugees to settle here without vetting them. But he's been against Trump in both of his elections, said he shouldn't run last time, that his day had passed. And, of course, he fought him on the border wall. He's been an amnesty guy. Everything that Trump stood for, John Cornyn's fought. But he was a big help to Joe Biden. The people of Texas, at least the Republicans, would like something different.
2 days ago. 2 days ago. That's all. So now Donald Trump has weighed in, and I don't have audio of him saying this because he put it on social media. And then you can kind of cross-reference this with social media posts from the other candidates. And a new conversation has emerged sort of slowly, slow back and forth on social media just yesterday afternoon and yesterday evening. Got a breakdown here from KVUE in Austin.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton says that he might be willing to drop out of the U.S. Senate race under the right conditions. President Donald Trump is still weighing who to endorse in the runoff election for U.S. Senate between Paxton and incumbent Senator John Cornyn. The president says that he will make an endorsement soon, and he wants the candidate he does not endorse to drop out of the race for the good of the party. In a social media post today, Paxton said that he'd drop out if Senate GOP leaders abolish the filibuster and pass the Save America Act, which is a priority for President Trump. The bill requires voters to prove citizenship to register to vote and present photo ID at the polls. Republican senators support the bill, but they're reluctant to get rid of the filibuster in order to pass it. In response, Senator Cornyn wrote on social media he supports the bill and has encouraged Senate Republicans to get it done. Paxton is raising the prospect of leaving the race as Senate Republicans continue to really intensely lobby President Trump to endorse his opponent, Senator Cornyn, because they believe Paxton has too much controversy around him in order to be able to win in November.
You know what I don't like about that? I don't like the fact that the voters of Texas are going to make their decision based on what Trump says. I'm not sure if that's even true. Does Trump really have the power to tip the scales? Because right now, it looks like Ken Paxton's going to win. If he gets all the Wesley Hunt votes, he could pretty easily walk away with this. So is Donald Trump going to override the Texas voters? That feels a little weird. Also, we're going to go back to just not even a month ago. I played this for you on the James Show February 18th. This is from February 17th when he was asked on the airplane where they have a lot of background noise. about the Texas Senate endorsement, and so before the primary, he declined. He said, "Oh, I like all three of the guys. They're all great."
A lot of Republicans in D.C. are asking you to endorse John Cornyn, but you haven't yet. Is there a chance you would endorse Paxton, and why haven't you endorsed Cornyn?
I just haven't made a decision in that race yet. It's got a ways to go, and I haven't. He's a good man. John is a good. I like all three of them, actually. I like all three. Those are the toughest races. They've all supported me. They're all good, and you're supposed to pick one. So we'll see what happens. But I support all three.
So what do you think about Paxton's deal? I drop out if you pass the SAVE Act. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I think I got a better idea for a deal if I was Ken Paxton. I'll tell you about it next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Does it bother you that your next senator could be picked by the president and not by Texans? Or is that even the case? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Because, look, here's something dastardly. If you're just joining us, there's a runoff for the GOP Senate candidate in Texas. Ken Paxton, the Attorney General, the incumbent Senator, John Cornyn. And Donald Trump hasn't endorsed either one of them. Didn't endorse anyone before the first primary vote on Tuesday. Still hasn't. But says he's going to endorse someone soon, and he would like the other guy to drop out immediately. He doesn't want any intra-party fighting. I think what he really doesn't want is him spending millions of dollars fighting other Republicans when they could spend millions of dollars against James Tallarico. Got it. But Ken Paxton has replied and said, yeah, I'll drop out. If y'all pass the SAVE Act, I'll drop out. Here's what I would like to see. I would like him to add a little bit to that. Pass the SAVE Act without nuking the filibuster, and then I'll drop out. And then after they pass the SAVE Act without nuking the filibuster, say, you know what? Change my mind. I'm just going to run anyway. Ken, Duncanville, you're on WBAP. Hey, Ken.
Hi. I my precinct meeting last night, and we submitted a resolution that there should not be any interference from out-of-state senators like Thune in the Texas election process.
Explain how Thune is interfering.
Well, the theory is that I found on X and everything is that Paxton got a call from Thune saying that, well, if you drop out so Cornyn can win, my buddy Cornyn, then I'll pass the SAVE Act. That's the theory going around.
Yeah, I hear that, and that ticks me off because you know what? You need to be passing that damn thing anyway. About 95% of Republicans want it.
That's his job.
What the heck are you
That's
sitting
his
on your
job.
hands for?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too. Ken, what do you think is going to happen?
I think Trump's going to come out for Cornyn, and I can't vote for Cornyn. I've said that for a long time.
Same.
You can go back and look up Cornyn's speech at the state party, and you can hear how people booed him the whole time. I was there. It was embarrassing. And Cornyn also had bought us the what do you call them? Anyway, the little things to hang your ID on, and people were refusing to wear it. They said, "I don't want to wear something with John Cornyn's name on it."
Dang.
So the grassroots, he's going to lose a lot of grassroots votes.
Well, we've seen him earn that disdain. He supported gun control after Uvalde. He was against the border wall. He said we should move on from Trump, and Trump can't win in 2024. And
True.
He's Mitch McConnell's best buddy. All right, good to hear from you, Ken. I think I agree with pretty much all that, and I have been hearing the same rumors. So good stuff.
Yep.
Derek, Flower Mound, you're on WBAP.
Hey, here's how I see it. I like the majority of what Trump does, but he needs to have his fingers kind of swatted and a little tape on his mouth. He just
Trump?
Yeah, he just does too much. And as far as Cornyn, he should have been gone 12 years ago.
Oh, agreed. Well, Donald Trump is you got to take the good with the bad. Do you want a loudmouth fighter who has a strong opinion on everything and isn't afraid to share it and won't back down even when it's not popular? Or do you want another nice guy like the Mitt Romney squish? I don't think you can get the perfect candidate. You've just got to take some of this bad part that comes with having a loud mouth.
I agree wholeheartedly, but just once in a while he'll say something that just makes me cringe. He could. I agree with it, but the way he says it, he shouldn't. He needs. I don't know what to do. He needs to just.
Well, we had a super nice guy with Mitt Romney, and he got his butt kicked. We had a super nice guy who was very mature and deferential and respectful with John McCain, and he got his butt kicked. And plus, he's the guy who thwarted our attempts to undo Obamacare. But yeah, I'm with you. But I think every politician says something that we find cringe from time to time. And if you don't, then he's not taking any bold stances there. That's not a leader. A real leader is going to have to say some unpopular things from time to time. And also, a real leader is going to be, personally off the cuff enough that he can make mistakes. If you're following a script all day, every day, you're not going to make a whole lot of boo-boos. And, that's how Barack Obama just skated through. He was Mr. Teleprompter, and it worked.
It did. It did. But we need more people that are not politicians, like Trump. I wish we had someone who wasn't a politician in the Senate race, but we get what we get.
Well, see, the problem we have is we don't follow the real electoral college model. What we were supposed to do is elect basically a Wiccan, a small committee of people who are then going to vote on who the president should be. And so the president will end up being somebody who didn't campaign. The president will be somebody who maybe not even wants to be president, because one of the downfalls of democracy is that if you just elect people with a popular vote, then you're only going to get the megalomaniac people who shouldn't be anywhere near power thinking, well, I should be president and I'm going to dedicate my life to it. And it doesn't matter what lies I have to tell or what money I have to raise or how much I have to neglect my family. Their pursuit of power, these are the wrong people. So what we should have is we would put Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson and maybe Elon Musk. We would put people like that in a room, maybe a Tucker Carlson, maybe a Dan Bongino, maybe your favorite college professor from UT that you see on TV sometimes. They would all get in a room and they would decide who's going to be president. And so it would just be a guy. It would be like, hey, what if it was one of us, or what if it's a guy that's not even in the room? And it's really out of our control. We're just supposed to elect the people who have a committee discussion and choose the president. But we're so far away from that.
Sounds like a good mix of people to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of my fantasy right there. I just named a whole bunch of people that I would like choosing my president. But we're not supposed to have the mouth breathers that were just sleeping in the bus station last night go to the ballot box and choose our next president. It's dangerous enough that we let them choose our congressional representatives, but that was the one branch of government where we were supposed to have popular democracy. Remember, the Senate was supposed to be chosen by the state legislature, so we weren't supposed to have a vote or a say-so on that either. So one of the problems we have is this electoral process where we're basically doing a prom queen nomination, and that's how we choose our leaders. That there's inherent flaws to that we're not even addressing, and nobody even wants to. I think I'm the only guy you've ever heard say that.
I want to. If Texas had control of its Senate the way it was designed, we could fire them all the time. Every time that, Cornyn would have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah, that's a great point too. Yeah, it'd be a lot easier to get rid of incumbents. All right, well, hey, great discussion there, Derek. But yeah, have you ever looked up the first election of the United States? There's some really cool videos on YouTube how there was 13 colonies, and the way they did their electors was different. Like some states didn't even have anybody vote on anything when it came to president. The state legislature picked their electors because each state got to pick how their electors were assigned, and states did different things. Now it's so uniform. It's completely different than what the founding fathers intended, and I think we're missing out. Dave Bedford, you're on WBAP. Hey, David.
Yes, sir. That last caller, I mean, he seems to sound like a good guy. I mean, but my gosh, you got to take the good with the bad. I mean, how hard is it to get on board with Make America Great Again? How hard is it to get on board with common sense? And I think all these presidents in the past wanted to do what Trump just did to Iran. My gosh, they were mowing down thousands of innocent people that were protesting in the streets. If they got their hands on a nuclear bomb, who do you think they're going to mow down next? This had to be done. And anybody who wants to not be on board with that they're not thinking with a level head.
Well, hang on, Dave. Slow
Yes,
down, because what about somebody like me? Like, I don't think it's a bad thing that the Ayatollah is dead, but I wouldn't have done that if I were president. There is some room for nuance. There's not like, well, you need to get on board with all of this or there's something wrong with you. No, you can still be pro-American and say this intervention's not going to be worth it because, Iran gets a nuclear bomb. Who are they going to mow down next? Well, it's not going to be us.
How many more American soldiers have got to die they have killed hundreds of Americans over the last number of years and decades But the bottom line, what I think, maybe it'll sound radical here, but I think we need to give these terrorist states, nations, whoever they are, and they fall on the list, a chance. You're going to turn it around now, or come by January 1, whatever year it is, or whenever we're going to do it, we're going to put you back in the third century. We're taking away all your toys that we made you, who you are today. We're going to take your oil fields. We're going to take away your airports, your railroads. We're going to leave your hospitals, and you can ride camels from now on until y'all can elect leaders and can join the 21st century and be kind to people. In other words, go ride your camels. We're taking over. We can do that if we want to. We could do it to Iran right now if we wanted to. We're just trying to slap them back and get rid of their ability to harm other nations. My gosh, they're even bombing their own neighbors. And so, is Trump going too far? I don't think so. I think we should put them back in the third century and start over, and take their oil fields too while we're at it.
All right.
Bottom line.
Well, we're more talking about the Senate race right now, but
I know, but we need senators. Like we need Cornyn. Cornyn. My gosh, he's
David,
been there. I mean,
I'm out of time. I got to run.
Go ahead. All right. Bye.
Sorry about that. I appreciate your enthusiasm. 800-288-9227. Who do you think Trump's going to endorse? And Tony Gonzales drops out the race. More on that next on the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. This looks low, and then afterwards he turns it up. He evens it out. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's nowhere near. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, it is still low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't do anything on this guy, does it? This is just my headphone. Talk HP. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Talking to Dwayne. Talking to Dwayne. Talking to Dwayne. Doing a mic check. Well, the rumor mill thinks that Trump's going to pick Cornyn and ask Ken Paxton to stand down. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP, which I feel is kind of disappointing because I think ideologically you probably line up better with Ken Paxton than John Cornyn. But the concern from the establishment is we think John Cornyn has a better chance of winning against Tallarico. Better chance? What are we, barely hanging on to Texas now? Do people know something I don't? This is Jim in Rowlett. You're on WBAP.
Yeah, we've got a bad choice. Cornyn is so deep in the swamp, it's up over his nostrils. And Paxton is just a pervert, and, he's a terrible person. And these guys, and they expect to get up there and make billions and millions and millions of dollars. And it's just a disgrace. We people here in Texas ought to have a better choice of candidates than these two.
No, then why don't we just vote for Wesley Hunt?
I don't know that much about him, but I've heard some kind of disturbing things about him too. So none of these guys are clean.
Well, then let's vote for the one that has the best policy record, because I've always maintained that whatever your foibles are, if you're corrupt or if you're a philanderer, you're a pervert or whatever, I would take a pervert that's a free market capitalist over a guy who is high fidelity but takes socialism as the way to go. And the whole country would benefit.
Yeah. We wouldn't be in $37 trillion of debt if it wasn't for these professional politicians. They're going to vote for their own pocketbook. We all know that. These guys are so corrupt; it's incredible.
Well, then why do we keep voting for them?
Well, the American people aren't all that smart. They prove that every day.
Well, then maybe we shouldn't be electing our leaders. Maybe we're not qualified.
Well, maybe we're not. I don't know. I don't claim to be competent in a lot of areas, and I don't try to fool myself. But Well,
what do you think? What do you think? Were you listening a couple segments ago when I talked about how the electoral college process was intended to work and how we've deviated from that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what if we go back to that? What if we just all vote on a handful of smart people? And because that's what it's supposed to be. Where there's supposed to be a room full of however many representatives we have. We all get to elect our air quote smart person, and they go all get in a room and decide who they think the president should be. And so that way, the guy that's going to be president didn't even know he was running for president 6 months ago, which means the donors won't control who gets the most popular candidacy. It means that this guy won't have to rack up favors on his way to get through the campaign process. It means the money's not going to have control over who gets picked because they didn't know who's going to get picked. When we talk about how corporations and rich people and can corrupt politicians, that would take that whole process away.
Yeah, but let me just give you one fact here. You know how many seats in the House were really competitive in this last election in 2024?
Oh, like 15.
Well, it's a little more than that. It's like less than 10%. So we're got 435. It's like maybe between 40 and 45 that are actually competitive. The rest of them are gerrymandered and they're primaried. Nobody's going to show up for the primaries, and they get voted right in. I think, you're making a great point that I wish was a little more widely known, because people are surprised when I tell them the biggest turnover in the congressional apportionment in my experience was Obama's first midterm, where 60 seats flipped. That's the biggest turnover we've had. That's not even 20% of the seats. That's like. Yeah, so like 80+% of incumbents skated through on the biggest turnover election of your lifetime. Incumbency is everything, and they don't have any competition. I lived through Gingrich when he took over. Remember that massacre?
Yeah. The contract with America.
Yeah.
Contract with America that had the promise of a balanced budget amendment, and also it was supposed to get rid of the Department of Education. Where
did that go?
Yeah, didn't do any of that. All right. Well, Jim and Rowlett, we can always hope for something better in the future. But remember, this whole the thing we're talking about now with endorsements and donors and people being bought off and people being corrupt or snakes or cutting deals, this is a flaw not with Ken Paxton or John Cornyn or Donald Trump. This is a flaw with all democratic systems. You can't get rid of it. This is what's built into it. That's why the founding fathers only wanted the House of Representatives to be chosen this way. They didn't want the Senate to be chosen that way. They didn't want the Supreme Court justices to be chosen that way. They didn't want the president to be chosen with a popular election, or as close as we have with the way we do the Electoral College. Now, Larry in McKinney, you're on WBAP.
Well, I'm definitely a MAGA Republican, and I hate to say this, but I held my nose and I voted for Cornyn for the primary because I think Paxton is far too vulnerable and carrying way too much baggage up against Tallarico.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it bothers me that so many people are basing their vote on something other than principle, something other than what is his preferred policy choice.
Well, that's two different issues, whether it's policy or morals, because if it's policy, it's not Cornyn, but if it's morals, it's not Paxton.
Well, which one's more important? To have a moral guy there that's following the wrong policies, or an immoral guy that's following the better policies?
I have to say my only point of view is who can beat the Democratic nominee, and I don't think Paxton can beat him. If you think the ads were bad from the Cornyn and the RNC against Paxton, we haven't seen anything compared to what the
Larry, that doesn't bother you that you're voting to just thwart the Democrats more than to support your own principles?
No, I'm a practical man. What do we have to do to keep the seat red? And it's not Paxton.
All right. Well, look, I think more people agree with you. I think more people agree with you than me on this position, but I got to admit, I don't get it. And I think once you stop, once you turn that part of your brain off and you just vote your conscience, just vote principle, whatever that means, you'll never go back. You'll never go back to, let me just do the lesser of two evils, or, anything red is better than anything blue. No, I vote third party more than pretty much anything for the candidates. I find my candidates, which one aligns with me more. And if it's some dog catcher that lives in Alito, I'm still voting for that dude. 800-288-9227. Does it bother you that Donald Trump's pretty much going to choose our next Texas senator? I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Oh my God, what did I say? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. You know, sometimes you like to see the phone lines be full. Sometimes you look over and they're full and you're like, wait a second, what did I say? We're talking about the delicate situation we're here in Texas. We're in the Senate runoff between Ken Paxton, John Cornyn, our Attorney General, versus our incumbent senator. Donald Trump said he's ready to endorse. He's just not going to announce it yet. But when he does announce it, he wants the other guy to drop out. And the rumor mill is trying to come up with all kinds of different scenarios. Like, well, what if he's going to get Ken Paxton to drop out, and then he's going to make him Attorney General over Pam Bondi because he doesn't like her anyway? Or what if he endorses Ken Paxton because everyone else is expecting to endorse Cornyn? Then what happens to Cornyn? Or what if then Ken Paxton said he's going to drop out if we pass the SAVE Act? There's other people saying he can't beat Tallarico. What do you think? 800-288-9227. That's sort of what we got going on here. Back to the phones. Let's go to another James. James in Burleson. Hello, James. You're on WBAP.
I just want to make a statement. I think it's a sad state of affairs when we have two dogs running for state senate in the state of Texas. That's the best we can do, is a philanderer and a guy that will lie to you about voting for Trump and all that. It's a sad state of affairs that this is the two guys that we get to choose from to help run.
No, there wasn't. There until Tuesday. There was a lot.
Wesley Hunt. That's the three bad guys that are running for state senator.
Well, so vote for someone else. No one made you vote for him.
Who are you going to vote for?
Ron Paul?
You can write anybody in. You can do all kinds of stuff, but
I do.
These are the two. This is the best that Texas has to offer out of all of the millions of people that live here.
Right, but James,
that's the best we have to offer.
Okay, but what candidate did you support?
I supported Cornyn because I don't trust Paxton, because if you can't trust his morals, you can't trust him.
Would you have kicked Ben Franklin out of the Constitutional Convention?
Times were different then.
Well, okay, what about Donald Trump? Would you kick him out of the White House?
I don't like voting for Donald Trump. I like what he does. I just don't like his personal life. No, I do not. And I think that's a sad state of affairs when the two best people we got running for our government,
James,
Kamala Harris and Donald Trump.
Let me tell you what 90% of the people listening are thinking right now. You're complaining about Cornyn, but you supported him.
I'm complaining about Paxton too. I wouldn't have voted for him for Attorney General again.
The solution to this, and the reason why I'm happier than you are about the situation, James, is you go find the candidate that you actually support, not the lesser of the two evils, not the ones that you have to grind your teeth when you vote for them. Find a guy you actually like and support him. Donate money to him, make social media posts for him, volunteer, maybe do some calls or do something like that. But if you don't like the guy, support somebody else. And if he doesn't win, you did what you could, but you will feel a lot better when you stop voting for the lesser of two evils. And I'm not trying to kick everybody off the plantation here, but just try it. And for one election, just vote your conscience. It's really a nice, liberating experience. Sally Boyd, you're on WBAP.
So I agree with you, and then I don't agree with you on one point.
Sounds good.
But I don't care what Ken Paxton does. Aside of him murdering somebody in the street, he's the policy guy.
Yeah.
Cornyn stinks, and Paxton is the way to go. These men that are disagreeing with you on that, I am on your side. I don't care about it because he gets things done. He does. The thing I don't like about Trump, one of the main things, is I think he stinks at doing endorsements. I agree with Horowitz whenever it comes down to he shoots himself in the foot on some of his endorsements. I mean, Ken Paxton is it. He's the best one by far. We don't have enough choices. That's garbage. However, I do disagree with you on the support somebody else, write in somebody else. If it comes down to John Cornyn and Tallarico, if you don't vote for John Cornyn in that case, I'm going to hold my nose and do it. Because if you don't vote, and or if you don't vote for Cornyn and vote for someone else, basically you're throwing away the vote and just voting
No,
for
look, here's
Talerico.
how I see it. Here's how I see it. If enough people did what I said, or just took the advice and voted their conscience, then we would go to the ballot box and there would be a bunch of votes for Talerico, there'd be a bunch of votes for Cornyn, and then there would be a whole bunch of other votes. Even if it's 10% of the vote that would otherwise be on Team Red, but they can't stomach John Cornyn, so they're going to vote their conscience. Sure, we would lose this election, but this isn't the last election. And the Republican Party would know that if we're going to get this 10% of people that abandon us, we're going to have to move to whatever gets their vote back. So for me, that would be a more libertarian-ish candidate. And so
I get what.
as long as you do this, you're going to keep getting bad candidates because you are rewarding the Republican Party for giving you bad candidates. The only way you get better candidates in the next election cycle, you're going to have to sacrifice this one. You vote your conscience. You vote based on your principles, and you make the Republican Party earn your vote. You make them come get your vote. You make them, when we come back in 6 years and have to replace this seat, they're either going to lose again or they're going to give you a better candidate. And if you keep voting while you're holding your nose, you're never going to get the better candidate because you're not making them give you a better candidate. You're rewarding them for their bad behavior.
Well, I agree with what you're saying there, but my fear is that if you split the votes that much, then ultimately Talerico's going to win.
Talerico will win, and he should win. He's a terrible candidate, and we'll get a better candidate next time. It's an easy sacrifice to make. You got to think more long term. We're not really about to go over a cliff here. You've been hearing that your entire life. And if y'all would have started voting your principles back in like the year 2000, what would we look like now? All right, I'm out of time. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. A bunch of people on hold about to give me the business next. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Trump is going to try and play kingmaker for the Texas GOP Senate primary. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. So on Tuesday, Texans went and voted, and they were kind of split between who should be their candidate for the Senate seat coming up in November, the incumbent John Cornyn or the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. So they're in a runoff. Now, before the election, before Tuesday, Donald Trump declined to endorse, and he said he liked both of them. He said he liked all of them.
A lot of Republicans in D.C. are asking you to endorse John Cornyn, but you haven't yet. Is there a chance you wouldn't endorse Paxton, and why haven't you endorsed Cornyn?
I just haven't made a decision on that race yet. It's got a ways to go, and I haven't. He's a good man. John is a good. I like all three of them, actually. I like all three. Those are the toughest races. They've all supported me. They're all good. And you're supposed to pick one, so we'll see what happens. But I support all three.
So that kind of makes a lot of people feel unsettled that the will of the Texas voters isn't going to, or the Texas Republican voters isn't going to determine the candidate Donald Trump is. Well, a lot of people don't like either one of the candidates, but I also like pointing out that for some of you, you're the reason why we're here. Sharon and Heath, you're on WBAP.
Hey, James. Yeah, people are talking about policy versus ethics. Sure, Paxton, was unfaithful, but his policies are really good, and he's really shown that he fights for the people of Texas. Whereas Cornyn does what Cornyn does best for himself, and he has done a lot of unethical things. So you got it on both sides. Running against Tallarico, there's a problem there. You said that people should vote their conscience. Well, people need to do their research. Tallarico thinks that there are 6 genders. I find that as being a problem. He's also for open borders, which that would negate everything that the Republicans and Trump have fought for. So there's a lot of things that people need to do. They need to, like I said, do the research and pick, go with your heart and figure out who's the best candidate, what outweighs the good and the bad. But we need to take Tallarico down. We can't have,
I found the approach to Tallarico. I'm kind of split on this because people send me clips of Tallarico. Look, can you believe he said this? There's no way anybody should support this guy. Like, I'll just give you an example here.
For me, prophetic voices like Jesus have helped me reckon with my own whiteness, my own masculinity, my own certainty, my own ego. It's a never-ending process, and it's a painful process.
Okay, it sounds, that's comical. Jesus helped you reconcile your whiteness? What did it need to be reconciled with? Are you balancing your checkbook? Are you doing a general ledger over there? Reconcile your whiteness. Like, whiteness is a bad thing, right? Like, whiteness is just inherently evil. Oh, I got it. We got to reconcile this problem with the color of our skin. So it's very weird. However, I would still like to point out that I wasn't going to support the guy anyway. I don't care. If you vote policies, it doesn't matter if he says weird things at a pulpit or claims, Jesus is non-binary or whatever the heck he says. Jesus rode a dinosaur. I don't know what he thinks. It doesn't matter. I wasn't going to vote for that dude anyway. And coincidentally, you can probably guess I'm going to say this, Sharon. I would vote for a free market capitalist who believed Jesus rode dinosaurs over a guy who seemed totally normal in all other ways except he supported socialism.
Yeah.
So
I think that, like I said, the whole border, we fought so hard for the border, and he's just like, oh, it's a welcome mat. Just come on in.
Yeah, John Cornyn didn't like the border wall, and he supported an amnesty bill as well. So
right. So I would support Paxton. Yeah, he had an affair. Yeah, whatever.
So Sharon, what if Trump?
They railroaded him in a lot of that other stuff.
Okay, but Sharon,
let house. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Let's say Trump endorses Cornyn, Ken Paxton drops out. Do you still vote for Cornyn?
Well, I have to vote for Cornyn because I would rather not have Tallarico. But I didn't hold my nose. I didn't hold my nose and vote for Cornyn because Paxton, whatever.
I got you. But you're perpetuating the system when you do that, Sharon. You're not going to get better candidates in 6 years if you keep doing this.
Well, we're not going to have a better candidate if we can go through 6 years of Tallarico.
Oh, there will always be another election.
Watching
Write in
everything
someone to the right. Write in Ron Paul or some protest vote. Let them see that there's a vote out there that they lost because they put in a bad candidate, and let them chase you to the right of the political spectrum to get your vote back. That's
Well, and I don't think
here, Sharon.
one or the other we're running. Paxton dropping out because I think Wesley Hunt's votes would go more for Paxton than for Cornyn.
Agreed. All right. Thank you, Sharon.
All right.
Steve Weatherford, you're on WBAP. Hey, Steve. Stephen Weatherford, you there? All right, let's go up to the real Paris and talk to Charlie. Hey, Charlie in Paris, you're on WBAP.
Hey.
Hey.
I just want to say real quickly, people need to quit pointing fingers at Paxton about his sins, and they say it in all other kind of terminology, but it was a sin, and we have been commanded to these people who I'm so much better than he is, that let the one without sin cast the first stone. Every one of them that are against Paxton because of his indiscretions have sinned. All they need to worry about right now is John Cornyn is, we all know, a rhino who is not faithful to the conservative Republican Party. We don't need John Cornyn, period. Ken Paxton has fought for the people of Texas.
Charlie, okay, so let me ask you the same hypothetical I asked Sharon in Heath, Charlie in Paris. Let's say Donald Trump endorses Cornyn, Ken Paxton drops out. Do you still vote for Cornyn in November?
Again, it's a hold my nose deal, and I hear what you're saying about that, and it perpetuates. But when it comes to Donald Trump endorsing, I don't think he should endorse either one of them. It's not his business yet.
Kind of agree.
He should show support for either one until Texas picks who we want.
I look, I'm not trying to tell you how to vote, people, but if you are unhappy with John Cornyn, don't vote for him. That's all you got to do. Vote your principles. Oh, but Tallarico might win. Yeah, Tallarico might win. You're going to have to stand on your principles one day, or they're never going to give you a good candidate. It's like I feel like I'm telling you to quit hitting yourself. You know how like your big brother would grab your hand and make you punch yourself in the face? Go, quit hitting yourself. Quit hitting yourself. I feel like that's what I'm telling you, people. Almost everyone calling in is unhappy with the candidates. And John Cornyn's terrible. He's a rhino. But I'll vote for him. Listen to yourself. The only way you get out of this mess, the only way you get better candidates is to vote on your principles. Try it once. You'll never go back. Once I started doing it, I never went back. I've held my nose and voted before. I don't do that anymore. Write in a candidate. Write in Ron Paul. Write in John Galt. But until you start doing that, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about how terrible the candidates are for all you people that support them. You're only allowed to complain if you're willing to vote your conscience. If not, you're the one who put you in that situation. Quit hitting yourself. I think I have some more callers that are going to tell me I'm wrong next. But yeah, we're awaiting the Trump endorsement in the Ken Paxton versus John Cornyn runoff. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. All right, so the internet's blown up right now. There's a big police presence outside the federal building in downtown. And WFAA, our news partner, is reporting that the bomb squad has now been deployed at the federal building. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on that. We'll get back to the people cussing me on hold in just a second here. But this is breaking news. WFAA just posted this 6 minutes ago, right as I was going to break. Bomb squad responds to area near Federal Courthouse, downtown Dallas. And so now they have some live coverage at WFAA Plus, but keep it right here. I'll keep you updated as soon as we know more. So thank you very much to our news partners at WFAA for that breaking news. I'll watch this on a second screen, and we'll get back to the calls here because we got a hot topic going on, and I hear you're frustrated about your candidates for the Republican primary, and the time to do something about that was before Tuesday. If you're unhappy with it now, it's too late. It's too late. You have one option. I mean, you have two options. You can hold your nose, vote for the lesser of two evils, or you can vote your conscience and vote for an independent candidate. And I'm not saying it has to be like a libertarian or anything. It could be another Republican. Write in a Republican that you would like to have. Maybe you write in Wesley Hunt when you go in November. Maybe you write in Ron Paul. Maybe you write in, just send them a message that there is a voter there that they missed. Don't stay home. Don't sit on your hands. But I just encourage you to just try it for one election. Just vote your conscience. And then tell me if you ever go back to voting for the lesser of two evils. Because the other thing that should bother you is Donald Trump's going to make an endorsement. It very well may swing the election. And as much as you like President Trump, don't you think the people of Texas should have a say-so? More so than the president? Bobby in Irving, you're on WBAP.
Well, I got to say, I think everyone's gone wackadoodle. If you pay attention to how we're supposed to vote, we're supposed to be private. We're supposed to vote on who we believe is going to support but we're voting for who we're going to run the government. So if I look at Corn, he's been there for 2 decades. He has done absolutely nothing. And then you look at Paxton. Okay, yeah, he's screwed up and he's done. I think he's already gone to trial through that attorney general stuff for a lot of it. So they're bringing up those old bones.
Yeah, the impeachment stuff.
Yeah, but the bottom line is we're supposed to go vote for who we believe in, period. And then the other part of the equation that no one's talking about is the sin of this country is that the eligible voters don't even get off their tails and go vote. Everybody go vote and vote who you believe is going to help this country. And the last example would be if Fetterman was running, I would have voted for him. I love what he's saying, and he's a Democrat, but it's all about red, blue, and let the news give your perspective on what to do. How about just voting like who you want to win? And if they're not on the ballot, write it in. And if everybody that's eligible to vote would do that, then we would see a change. But if we're going to vote for, oh, gosh, I'm having a brain aneurysm here. How many times I've heard you say, they're voting on the least evil person. This is insanity.
Well, look, one person agrees with me. Bobby and Irving, and me and him are friends. The rest of you can go have your own little party out there where you hold your nose and vote. But Bobby, you were bringing up some good points there. But I would like to say philosophically, I still agree with the founding fathers that we're not supposed to be voting on who our senators are anyway. That was supposed to be determined by the state legislatures. The founding fathers had it right. We were wrong to change that with what was that, the 17th Amendment? Right. But other than that, yes, your point still stands, and thank you for agreeing with me. Although it's not that fun for radio purposes, it's nice to know someone agrees with me. Thanks, Bobby.
All right.
This is Pat in Weatherford. Hey, Pat, you're on WBAP.
Hey, where to start? Yeah. Paxton, let's put aside his flaw. Churchill had great flaws, and I wouldn't have had anyone else there in that time, in that position during the war. He's got flaws, but I look at policy, and his policy and mine, I mean, he has fought. He has fought for Trump. He has fought all the way for everyone. Cornyn, if you've seen The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas with Burt Reynolds, is like the politician on the stage. Every time the wind blows one way, he changes hat and heads the other way. So he is I don't know how anyone could
Well, okay, Pat, but question of the day. Let's say Donald Trump swoops in, he endorses Cornyn, Ken Paxton drops out. Are you voting for Cornyn in November?
Well, I agree with the other guy. He shouldn't be endorsing anyone. But if he's going to endorse anyone, he should vote for the man who supported him all the way and fought for his principles. And I guess this is where I will differ with you. If Cornyn is the candidate, I've read about this other guy, this Democrat. He is
Tallarico?
not how anybody could vote for them, either one, Jasmine Crockett or him. I mean, it doesn't speak well for the Democrats that this is who they are putting in the race. Those were their two possibilities.
Well, that's what they say about your candidates too, Pat.
Well, at least I think my candidates have some principles, and I really think the general populace is going to be more in line with the Republicans. But then they fool me every time there's an election, and they'll think, how can any reasonable person vote for some of these candidates the Democrats are putting forward? Anyway, that's all I have to say is we all have flaws. None of us are perfect. Look at the policies.
Well, I've always found that frustrating, but because you don't have to prove to me that Tallarico's a weirdo that, whizzes in the shower or whatever weird thing he does, or that Jasmine Crockett's a terrible person. I wasn't going to vote for them anyway because I don't believe in socialism. I don't believe in all these social programs. I don't believe in the Democrat Party platform. They're probably nice people. They're probably good. We would probably be friends if we were in the same room hanging out. I don't have to dislike the people in the other party to not vote for him. Oh, you got to watch out for this Tallarico guy. No, I don't have to watch out for him. I wasn't going to vote for him anyway. I know he's saying weird Jesus-y stuff, but that's not what I based my vote on anyway. 800-288-9227. I'm going to dig into the bomb squad being deployed a few blocks away. I'll have an update for you next on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. All right, I got updates on the bomb scare at the Federal Building in downtown Dallas. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. It looks like it was, I guess, nothing. We don't have actual officials coming out and saying it was nothing. But when the story came to our attention a few minutes ago, about a half hour ago or so, it was a heavy police presence and roads were blocked off. And so then you had the news stations, a couple of them flew a drone. You got a couple cool pictures up there. But the federal courthouse downtown, they're already dismantled the roadblocks, and the bomb squad came back up. And it looks like they got in their box truck and left. So it was nothing. Good. It was nothing. Now, this keeps coming up here, the bomb threats. Now, bomb threats at school are something that have never materialized. Every single one of them has been a hoax. And the discussion comes up of like, well, then why do we have the crazy reaction to them that we do if there's literally a 0% experience of them being real? Now, bomb squads in Dallas, I'm a little more iffy on that. When I was in Waco, there was a bomb squad, the McLennan County Bomb Squad. And I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. There's no one in a cave on the other side of the planet trying to take down the great Satan by saying, let's go knock out the silos of Magnolia or something, right? And if they were, it wasn't going to be like, I remember one time when I was in Waco, they blocked off like 4 blocks downtown because of an unattended igloo cooler that was just left on a sidewalk where they were renovating one of the old buildings or whatever. And it was some dude's lunch. It was some construction worker's lunch. And they called out the bomb squad for that. It's like, thank you for saving us from a ham sandwich. Really appreciate that, guys. You don't think it's a little bit of an overreaction? So I think most bomb scares are ridiculous. Look, I guess Dallas deserves to have one. Like DFW Airport has its own bomb squad. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense. But I mean, have you ever found a bomb? There was the bomb scare that was in Highland Village, I guess like 4 days ago. And they were like, well, we found this antique with picric acid in it, and that's an explosive. So we had to go take it out to some park in Copper's Cove. Then they locked down some adjacent schools while they blew up the very dangerous object. Well, go online right now. Go to Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever your search engine is. Type in picric acid and then click shopping. This is stuff you could just order and have it shipped to your house. But it's so scary. We've got to go get 4 bomb squads. It was the Denton bomb squad. It was like Dallas bomb squads, the DFW Airport bomb squad. Jesus. Had a bunch of people. Well, we got to go take it out to his park and blow it up. That's ridiculous. So it looks like it was nothing. As soon as I find out something a little more official than that, I'll be sure to pass it along. Back to the topic of the day. Donald Trump said he's going to make an endorsement in the Texas Senate runoff. And a lot of people think it's going to be Cornyn, and they're expecting Paxton to drop out. Catherine in Fort Worth, you're next up on WBAP.
Yeah, well, I just said to myself before you even put me on, that is a mistake. And I know people think they're going, well, I don't know where to start, James, but I've been following this Cornyn deal in the illegal deal for years. I mean, back when in my town got taken over and my school was 67%. Back in the early 2000s, 67% Hispanic. And I made the comment then to a friend, they're going to have kids and then they're going to overrun our system. And that's where we are now. Okay. So I called Cornyn's office back then, and several times, and asked, why are they not doing something about it? And finally, a lady told me, Cornyn has sent, now you check this out, Cornyn has San Antonio, and he cannot turn against them. That's his bread and butter. And he cannot run them out or even act like he wants to.
Right.
And isn't he still in the same spot, James? Isn't he over the air? Doesn't San Antonio fall into the area? I'm in the car, so I didn't run check. But if it did, if he is still in the same Senate seat that was over, well, I guess they're not over an area. But anyway.
Yeah, it's over the whole state.
It's over the whole state. Well, they could safely say then he's on their side. He was, maybe back then in the early 2000s, it was under him only. But now both of them are over everybody. But I don't know. I don't trust him. Now, as far as Paxton, let me say this, because a lot of those same Dems or libs or whatever you want to call them that adored Bill Clinton, he could do no wrong. What he did was just overlooked as though it was just taking out the trash. And I don't mean that ugly to her. I just mean, just an everyday occurrence. They thought Bill hung the moon. Well, then why is Paxton such a bad man?
Wait, hang on.
Condoning affairs.
When you say he hung the moon, is that a euphemism for something? Just kidding.
James.
I know. Thank you, Catherine. We'll leave it with that. Thank you. Jerry, Wichita Falls, you're on WBAP. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, good morning. The endorsement doesn't make any difference to me because President Trump endorsed the governor of Oklahoma, which that's turned out to be a terrible thing. Also, President Trump ran on the issue of draining the swamp. If my commode's backing up and I got sewage coming in my house, I'm not going to ask the plumber if he cheated on his wife. I want to ask him if he knows how to fix it.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good metaphor, Jerry. That hits home. Well, look, I wish everybody signed on with the idea that endorsements should just mean nothing, but endorsements are useful. Endorsements are for the people who don't have the time to really go deeply research every single thing they vote on. Look at all the things we vote on. Can anyone possibly know the ins and outs of all the candidates in all the races, yet you're supposed to make that decision? So I understand why people want to do sort of the intellectual shortcut of endorsements, and it shouldn't matter, but it does.
Yeah. If you want a good write-in candidate who is not in the race, Dwayne Stovall ran against Cornyn last time. Best candidate they has ever been, only candidate I have ever given money to.
Well, that's just because I haven't run yet, so I'm kidding.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
All right, thank you, Jerry in Wichita Falls. I'm going to find out. You wouldn't have to vote for me, Garrett. I would expect you to vote for my opponent. Coming up, I'm going to check on the bomb scare that we had downtown and come back with a couple more calls on this dicey situation with Donald Trump's going to step in and make an endorsement in the runoff between Paxton and Cornyn. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So, of course, there wasn't a bomb. James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So there was a bomb scare at the federal courthouse downtown, just a few blocks from where we're at here. They ran out the bomb squad. A suspicious package was reported at 8:30. Bomb squad comes out. They clear it. They've already unblocked the roads and everything. So every second that everyone was inconvenienced by the blocked roads and the police action was completely unnecessary. It was just fear theater. And I'm not saying there's never going to be a bomb. I'm not going to say there never has been a bomb. But the ratio of bomb scares to actual bombs is close to zero. You understand that? You understand how little use the bomb squads have been? And we just roll it out and we accept it like it's normal. And I think half of this started with 9/11. We became, afraid of things blowing up, even though that wasn't done by bombs. I mean, there have been some bombs like the bomb from the Boston Marathon. That was a bombing. The bombing of the buildings in Oklahoma. But no one calls them in. No one plants a bomb and is like, hey, I planted a bomb. Why don't you go find it before I accomplish my mission? What are they going to tell on themselves? It makes no sense. Would you do that? Hey, I'm about to blow up a place. Hope you can't find my bomb. No, nobody does that. That doesn't happen. So we have another example of just fear porn, waste of resources, scaring the crap out of everyone. And even though there was nothing to be made of it, there are a lot of people who are going to think, wow, this world's scary. I got to be cautious. And they're going to take the exact wrong message away from it. And I am tired of this idea. If you see a suspicious package, you go call the government. You go call Big Daddy. No, here's my explanation. If you see a suspicious package, go look in it. Go look what you did all your entire life until recently. Like if you were at school and there was an unattended backpack, what would you do? Well, you go open it up, see if there was some homework in it. You could find out if there was a name on it, find out whose it is, take it to the lost and found, return it to them. You didn't call the damn cops. We're a little more robust than that. You see an unknown package, you don't need help. You are a sentient human being with the ability to go figure out yourself. Well, I don't know what this is. Well, go find out. Because the reports are in the rumor mill that today it wasn't a bomb. It was liquor. So we just interrupted everyone's day. We have an entire bomb squad that cost millions of dollars in all the cities because someone's scared of some Jack Daniels. Tell me that doesn't make sense. Please. Blake Waxahachie, you're on WBAP.
Yeah, James, all of these mouth breathers that want to cite, don't judge Paxton because of his sin. What we've really forgotten, if they want to start quoting Bible verses, is about the discernment and judgment of fools and how if you associate with fools, you become more like them than wise. And the reality is that they can't vote their own conscience for somebody that they really believe in for reasons that are other than a Trump endorsement or something else, like don't judge a fool by his prior sin, then they shouldn't vote at all. Your comment earlier about intellectual shortcuts and maybe they shouldn't be voting really has a lot of merit with me, because at the end of the day, there should be maybe an IQ and common sense test before somebody could vote. And I think some of those mouth breathers that called in earlier probably proved that point. That's all I got.
Wait, so are you voting for Paxton or not?
Oh, I wouldn't vote for Paxton. I voted for him when he was going for AG. I wouldn't vote for the fool ever again. He's just got horrible judgment. And it doesn't matter whether he's a cheater or on his wife or anything. I don't care about that. At the end of the day, he's just not a good leader, and his judgment is lacking on so many levels. And he's not electable against Tallarico. That's the bottom line. If you put him up, you've handed the seat to the Democrats. And if you're so foolish to think that you couldn't vote for Cornyn because of some inability of his view of things that is not exactly like Trump's, then if you want to vote for a sycophant, then vote for Paxton.
No, it's not that his views aren't exactly like Trump. It's that his views were against the wall. They were for amnesty. They were for gun control. Like he actually
independent. He's an independent thinker, is what he is. And so you get the good with the bad. But with sycophants,
no one's faulting him for being an independent thinker. They're faulting him for the thinking that is decidedly against their principles.
That's fair. But you've put a fool in office, and you're going to get a lot of foolishness. And
Did you vote for Trump?
Absolutely.
Well, he cheated on all of his wives.
I've never said I wouldn't vote for somebody because of that. That's what these other people think.
Right, but the judgment, discernment, that doesn't apply to him?
Oh, the judgment and discernment thing is talking about the principles. And if your principles are, I will vote for somebody or not vote for somebody, whether they cheated on their spouse or not, that's pretty thin-minded.
There you go. Okay.
If that's your
you cleared up.
If that's your litmus test, then you shouldn't be voting.
Gotcha. All right. Good call. Thank you, Blake. Victor Rockwall, you're on WBAP.
Good morning. I vote on policy, and there's sometimes that I guess it leans one party or the other, but I do not vote on party lines. I vote on the person, and it doesn't matter what they've done, I guess, in their personal life as much as to the policies and the type of government that I want to be in place. So, and you say that go ahead and vote for, I guess, like a writing candidate to prove your point. I don't want to make our state in this place go ahead and suffer for 6 years just to prove a point. There's doing the right thing.
It's not just to prove a point. It's to get a better candidate next time. It's to stop this downward cycle of voting for the lesser of two evils. And you say that we can't survive if the Democrats win the Senate. Well, that's what was told to me before 2008. And then the Democrats took the White House, and Senate, and we survived it. And if we had voted for our principles, by the time we got to the other side of that, we would have better candidates.
So do you want to survive, or do you want to go ahead and prosper? You know, it's like,
well, this isn't prospering. $38 trillion in debt is not prospering. Government growing every year is not prospering. Us getting a 25% pay cut through inflation just in the last 5 years because of overblown federal spending, that's not prospering, sir. We're all actually taking a step back, doing what you want to do, Victor and Rockwall. We haven't been voting our conscience. We have been voting for the lesser of two evils, and things are not getting better.
That was not Trump, okay? The border crossings, come on, okay, millions come over.
Look, I'm happy about the border crossing stopping, but you got to admit, he has not closed the budget deficit. He has definitely not balanced the budget. And a big chunk of the inflation that we experienced in the last 5 years was things that were passed that he signed off on.
Very true. And okay, I'll say this, okay. I don't think he'll ever agree with anybody 100%, you know.
Nobody will. It's not a fair metric.
Exactly. So, you know, I vote for the one who will instill the government that best suits my needs.
All right. Well, try it. Just try it. Everybody vote your conscience. Tell me how it feels. All right, that's going to do it for me. I'll come back in 3 hours. Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins coming up next on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.